Debarim, Deuteronomy chapter 33. And this is the barakah with which Mosheh, the man of Elohim, barak the children of Yisra'el before his death. And he said, Yahweh came from Sinai and rose from Seir for them. He shone forth from Mount Paran and came with 10,000s of Kodashim, at his right hand a law of fire for them. Indeed, he loves the peoples. All his Kodashim are in your hand, and they sat down at your feet, receiving your words. Mosheh commanded us a Torah, an inheritance of the assembly of Yaakov, and he was sovereign in Yeshurun when the heads of the people were gathered, the tribes of Yisra'el. Let Reuven live and not die, and let his men be numbered. And this of Yehuda. And he said, Hear Yahweh the voice of Yehuda, and bring him to his people. His hands shall fight for him, and you be a help against his enemies. And of Lewi he said, Your Tumim and your Urim belong to your kind one, whom you tried at Messah, with whom you contended at the waters of Merivah, who said of his father and mother, I have not seen them, and he did not acknowledge his brothers or know his own children, for they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. They teach your right rulings to Yaakov and your Torah to Yisra'el. They put incense before you and a complete burnt offering on your altar. O Yahweh, barak his strength and accept the work of his hands. Strike through the loins of those who rise against him and of those who hate him, that they rise no more. Of Benjamin he said, Let the beloved of Yahweh dwell in safety by him, shielding him all the day, as he dwells between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, Barak of Yahweh in his land, with the choicest from the Shamayim, with the dew and the deep lying beneath, with the choice fruits of the sun, with the choice yield of the months, with the finest of the ancient mountains, with the choicest of the everlasting hills, with the choicest of the earth and all that fills it, and the good pleasure of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. His splendor is like a firstborn bull, and his horns are like the horns of the wild ox. With them he pushes the peoples to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, O Zebulun, in your going out, and Yissaschar in your tents. They call peoples to the mountain. There they bring offerings of righteousness, for they draw from the riches of the seas and treasures hidden in the sand. And of Gad he said, Barak is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion and shall tear off the arm, also the crown. And he chose the best for himself, for there the portion of the lawgiver was hidden. And he came with the heads of the people. The righteousness of Yahweh he did, and his right rulings with Yisra'el. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub that leaps from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with pleasure and filled with the barakah of Yahweh, possess the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Asher is most Baruch of sons. Let him be accepted by his brothers and dip his foot in oil. Your sandals are iron and bronze, and your strength as your days. O Yeshurun, There is no one like El, riding the Shamayim to help you, and on the clouds in his excellency. The Elohim of old is a refuge, and beneath are everlasting arms. And he drives out the enemy from before you and says, Destroy! Thus Yisra'el dwells in safety, the fountain of Yaakov alone, in a land of grain and new wine. His Shamayim also drop down dew. Baruch are you, O Yisra'el! Who is like you? A people saved by Yahweh, the shield of your help, and he who is the sword of your excellency. And your enemies are subdued for you, and you tread down their high places. Debarim, Deuteronomy chapter 34. And Mosheh went up from the desert plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. And Yahweh showed him all the land of Gilead, as far as Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, all the land of Yehudah, as far as the western sea, and the Negev, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. And Yahweh said to him, This is the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, saying, To your seed I give it. I have let you look at it with your eyes, but you do not pass over there. And Mosheh, the servant of Yahweh, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahweh. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor, and no one knows his burial place to this day. And Mosheh was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his freshness gone. And the children of Yisra'el wept for Mosheh in the desert plains of Moab 30 days. And the days of weeping and mourning for Mosheh were completed. And Yehoshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, for Mosheh had laid his hands on him. And the children of Yisra'el listened to him, and did as Yahweh had commanded Mosheh. And since then no Nabi has arisen in Yisra'el like Mosheh, whom Yahweh knew face to face, for all the signs and wonders which Yahweh sent him to do in the land of Mitzrayim, before Pharaoh and before all his servants and in all his land, and for all that strong hand and all the great fearsome deeds which Mosheh did before the eyes of all Yisra'el.